Welcome back. Many people think getting into the business of selling alcohol is a license to print money because whatever happens in the economy, people always drink, right? Well, it's an industry fraught with pitfalls and dominated by big players. However, Rowan Leibbrandt, founder of Truman and Orange, is taking on that challenge. He joins us now from our Cape Town studio. Rowan, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it. First off, tell us more about your business.
So we're a drinks distribution business. So that's to say that we market and we sell alcohol products, branded spirits largely. And as you say, for the longest time all around the world, that space has been really dominated by some enormous businesses, which I'm sure we've all heard of. But recently what we seem to be seeing is a kind of a consumer fragmentation, as it were. So people starting to look for smaller, more interesting, somewhat premium brands from, I guess, brands with unique stories, and start to, not just drink the one big major brand that everybody knows, but start to kind of, explore around the edges of that and drink in larger portfolios. Mm-hmm.
Now, I've been reading your press release and online articles about you. It says you offer sophisticated South African drinkers alternatives to mega brands. Does this ultimately mean you're selling the really expensive stuff?
Part of that story, yes, but South African consumers have become more sophisticated at almost every price level. So, if you take gin, for example, there's exciting new gins coming onto the market at the kind of 150 Rand level, in much the same way as that there are exciting new gins coming on at the 300 and 400 Rand level. So, yes, it tends to start at the more premium price levels because, frankly, it's easier for smaller companies to innovate into that space. But no, I think it's happening all up, right from entry-level products right up to more expensive products.
Yeah. Now, you, of course, have traveled to different parts of the world to find these alcoholic gems, so to speak, even Russia, apparently, where you met your wife. How has the South African market responded to the brands, the different brands you bring in?
South Africa is such a fascinating place. We are, we're geographically far from a lot of the kind of what would be considered to be the sort of cultural centers of the world, the Londons and the New Yorks of the world. We also had this period in our history, of only 20 years ago when we were a very closed place. So the combination of those two factors has meant that, trends have been quite slow to come to South Africa. And we've slowed them down ourselves, because of being such a closed place initially. But, these ideas and kind of fashion is now shared more quickly around the world than ever before. So South Africa feels part of this global community. And, some of these trends are just exploding in South Africa. I mean, once again, if you take gin, you only have to go back sort of 10 years ago when gin was everyone's grandmother's drink and nobody was interested in it. Yeah. So we joke at the office about gin's gone from my grandmother's drink to my girlfriend's drink in the space of 10 years.
Now, obviously, it couldn't have been very easy starting up this business, especially with the big players dominating the industry, as we've mentioned. Tell us how you actually overcame all those challenges.
This is the kind of business where you need to build a certain amount of credibility. So, what we found is that, there's definitely a drinker need for what we're offering in South Africa. But to go to the retailers who ultimately control the market, the Pick and Pays and Macros and ShopRite Checkers of the world who control such a large portion of what we drink, or at least, they're the ones who offer us most of what we drink. There's a kind of credibility issue which you need to build with them, which takes time. So, interestingly, that was the bit that took us 2 or 3 years to kind of overcome. And we did it largely by, I sometimes describe us as a big, small company. We've got a lot of blue chip, people with blue chip experience working in the business, and we're very clear about what we wanted to do. So I think, in some sense, we didn't look like a startup to the retailers. We were able to come across as something a little bit more formidable than that.
All right, you've, of course, been featured as a thought leader in several publications. What's your word of advice for people wanting to start up their own business?
Sure. I'd say be very scared when people start to refer to you as a thought leader, I suspect. Yeah, well, I guess have a very strong point of view and be prepared to defend it. And what I found is we had a very clear sense of what we wanted our business to do. And a lot of people, by definition, think that what you're doing is wrong because it hasn't been done before. But I think you've got more to gain by being very clear about what you want to do and sticking that path rather than trying to amend it each time somebody tells you something different.
All right, thank you so much for your time and your insight. Rowan, I'll be waiting for my very expensive bottle of vodka in the mail. That was Rowan Leibbrandt of Truman and Orange. And finally, a statue of an owl is ruffling feathers in the Serbian town of Kikinda.